Next up is resolution number 23-08. So, Donna, would you read that, please?
Resolution number 23-08, sponsored by Matt Swanson, Joe Brazel, Dave Hammond, and Tim Baker. A resolution opposing the importation of illegal immigrants into the region. Whereas recent news reports indicate that the nonprofit International Institute of St. Louis, hereinafter IISTL, is working with unions and philanthropic leaders to resettle possibly thousands of Latin American migrants in the city of St. Louis. And whereas in October 2023, a representative of the IISTL traveled to Chicago to explore the possibility of bringing migrants to St. Louis, which was described as an effort to bolster St. Louis workforce and stem its population decline. And whereas the IISTL representative said that the program would be funded primarily by private donors and would provide housing for as long as 3 months, cell phones, apprenticeship programs, and job placement through unions and assistance from immigration lawyers. And whereas the city of Chicago has become a self-proclaimed sanctuary city and about 18,000 immigrants have arrived. And whereas the office of mayor of the city of St. Louis has publicly stated in relevant part, while the city has not had direct conversations on welcoming more migrants from Chicago, the city of St. Louis has had a long-standing cooperative relationship with the International Institute to welcome immigrants and refugees to the St. Louis area. And whereas St. Charles County Council is strongly opposed to the importation of illegal immigrants into the region based on current federal and state statutes that make their unlawful entry to the United States a criminal offense. And whereas upon information and belief, Missouri State Senators Bill Eigel and Nick Schroer will encourage state officials and local law enforcement agencies to abide by and enforce federal and state immigration laws. Now therefore be it resolved by the County Council of St. Charles County, Missouri as follows. Section 1, the St. Charles County Council strongly opposes the importation of illegal immigrants into the region.
That are wanting to speak, please fill out a speaker's card. You will be limited to 3 minutes on the clock right there, and we will limit discussion on one particular issue to three for, and 3 against, and if we have more than that, we can always kind of amend the agenda. We'll start out with Claire. Give us our first speaker.
On resolution 2308, Ari Obenson.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is Ari Obenson. I'm President and CEO of the International Institute of St. Louis. I stand here today to comment on this resolution, against the resolution. The International Institute has as its mission and vision to provide opportunities for immigrants and refugees to thrive in this community so as to create a more welcoming and prosperous community. A few weeks ago, we launched the Latino Outreach Initiative. And the Latino Outreach Initiative is intended to attract immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, all 4 countries that the Biden administration created a private sponsorship program. These people have been granted travel authorization into the United States legally. They have employment authorization in the United States for up to a 2-year period. The goal of the program is mindful of the challenges that our community faces, where we've seen in the last 2 decades continuous decline in our population in the city as well as in the region. The number of people or employers that reach out to us on a daily basis seeking for employees to fill out gaps in the workforce. We see this program as an opportunity for us to revitalize the population of St. Louis, ignite our workforce, and help build the prosperity that is needed, particularly for small businesses. We also see this program as the same program that was used to bring in Ukrainians into the country, many of whom are resident in the St. Charles area, that we continue to provide service from the International Institute and believe they come in with the same status And what we have seen from the people that we serve is that within 6 months of arrival, we have an 88% self-sufficiency rate. Within 8 months of arrival, we have a 92% self-sufficiency rate. It is therefore our submission that these people will contribute significantly to the development of this community and do not need to depend on the community for their survival. They actually will be making a contribution, positive contribution to the development of St. Louis, yes, but also the region as a whole. That's the submission. That's why I'm here. This is something that we are here in the spirit of collaboration, in the spirit of explaining what we're trying to accomplish.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jose Ponce. I am a resident from the St. Charles area as well. I'd like to start off by stating the census. I am representing the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of St. Louis metropolitan area. I am the board chair for the department, or for the organization. And we have several members on our membership group that also are business owners here in St. Charles. And one of the major elements that we have to face consistently is that we have companies that are joining our membership because they're looking for people to employ. They're looking for people to hire. They're looking for people to bring on board within their companies. And they know that within our community and our direction and path, we try to source and find proper employees that can be employed gainfully, legally, through these new organizations that are prompting up. We've found ourselves looking at analytical information that shows the impact, the economic impact that it's made, not only in the St. Louis metro area, but also in the St. Charles area as well. I am all for finding gainful employees that have the proper documentation in place to be gainfully employed in our country, just like we are now. Every one of us has an opportunity to do so. It's all based on the American dream. The American dream states that all of us are ancestral, have ancestral backgrounds from all over the world, and that's the beauty of our country. I have kids that serve our country right now at this very moment. They've been in the United States Army. I have my brother who's a veteran who's been with this Army veteran for 25 years. They've given up and sacrificed many of their times and families to protect our country. This is what the American dream is all about. It's about letting other people have the opportunity to come to this country and be gainfully employed, that one day they can also be perhaps a business owner that could perhaps even impact our community locally. With that being said, I propose that you guys take in consideration, or maybe a step back a little bit on this resolution, and find the proper information that's already been emailed to everyone here that's involved in the districts, to have proper review of the documentation that's here, so that you guys can make a decision based on facts, not information that was perhaps heard or overheard. I respect each and every one of you, and I appreciate the concern. I really do. But I think it's time that we also take a little bit of a step back and just make sure we have all the facts before we send the right message out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Antonio Maldonado.
Thank you for allowing us a few minutes to address this issue. I believe that details in the resolution are erroneous. I am a Vietnam veteran, served in the United States Air Force. My enlistment has no expiration date. I went from military service to community service. I have a letter from Alderwoman Daniela Velasquez. I was going to read it, but I think it's too long, so I'll go ahead and forward that email to you guys. I would hate to use the term, here we go again. I am also a commissioner for human rights for the state of Missouri. I would not, like any human group, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of how they came to the United States, to have their lives turned around with all they want is what you and everybody on this council want: a good education, a safe home, work, and contribute to the society. We have contributed over $12.4 billion in this state, the Hispanic community, with entrepreneurship. We bring things to the table. We're not coming here to take from the table. So please reconsider this resolution. You have leaders from all walks of life in our Hispanic community. If you have an issue with a Hispanic issue, please come to us. We're here. We're available to talk to you and deliver the data that you need to help you make wise decisions. Do not get bamboozled over bad information or disinformation. Please, this is a wonderful city. This is a wonderful county. Let's keep it that way. You know, Harry S. Truman convened a committee for immigration policy back in his time. And it was entitled, "Whom Shall We Welcome?" Well, not any one person or any one governing body can make that decision. So he convened a committee from people from all walks of life, faith-based people, people that work the community, labor. Everybody came together on his commission,
Thank you, sir.
and it worked. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Caroline Fan.
Thank you for having us here tonight. The last time I was in this building, I was here to talk in front of the Historic Preservation Commission. Slightly different topic tonight. I am president and founder of the Missouri Asian American Youth Foundation. We are a statewide Asian American organization, and we represent the folks we represent include about 11,000 Asian Americans in St. Charles County. I was on the Governor's Complete Counts Committee to ensure that all of our communities were indeed counted, and so that we could have enough funding for our roads, our schools, our parks, our libraries. It strikes me as a curious resolution because it's very broad. And so I guess I just have questions because I'm concerned, given my past as a immigration policy specialist for state legislatures, that may leave St. Charles County and employees and officials open to discrimination lawsuits. These lawsuits were incredibly costly for the state of Arizona, and it was a 6-year lawsuit that they had to undergo in regards to SB 1070. They also wound up having to pay $1.4 million. So that's separate from the legal fees. So that's just a note of caution. I don't know if the taxpayers of St. Charles would want to spend money on things like that. I'm not sure what the state of the St. Charles County budget is, but if it looks anything like the St. Louis County budget, we're not doing so hot. I'm also here in my capacity as a member of the St. Louis County Human Relations Commission. I believe St. Charles City has a Human Relations Commission that is supposed to advise elected officials on harmonious relationships amongst various ethnicities. So I encourage you to also seek their opinions, because one of the things that the commission is supposed to do, efforts to collect and review data related to the following and serve as repository for data on patterns of discrimination and hate crimes. I'm also here in my capacity as a member of the U.S. Attorney's Anti-Hate Crimes Task Force for the region. I don't know how you would enforce this resolution, really, in a way that would be non-controversial and non-litigated. So therefore, I'm here in opposition. Thank you.
My name is Philip Deitch. My sister pronounces it Deitch, so that's okay. I'm pleased to speak to you this evening as the president of the St. Louis Regional LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce, who has members living and working here in St. Charles. And we also have members who are Latino, Latina, Hispanic. We celebrate the diversity of our region, and we support the efforts being made to broaden that diversity to increase numbers and to create more unity within our region. I've also been active for many years with the Hispanic Leaders Group and the International Institute, and I've been following this issue, and the proposed resolution properly references a regional concern of decreasing population. I'm glad it acknowledges that. But then it labels, the way it reads now, an entire race who are being approached to move here as being illegals. First of all, people are not illegals. We all have value and dignity deserving of respect. Some individuals may be undocumented, but they are not the focus of who this program is trying to attract to our region to strengthen and build our regional economy. So let me add that I'm also a founder of and a leader in our regional hate crimes task force. And over the years, I have come to clearly see that language, if it's not carefully used, puts a target on people. And we want to, I know you do, avoid that happening. So rhetoric which places that target is something which we have to be careful about. So please don't represent this positive effort that helps our region and twist it with language and assumptions that only further a political divide. My chamber, along with other minority and regional chambers, including the St. Charles Chamber of Commerce, are working to strengthen us into a truly united region. We see this language as not helpful. We would ask that you join in what is becoming a meaningfully mutual support program, which was highlighted just a few days ago with over 600 business leaders and community leaders participating in a breakfast roundtable. We can do better, but we need to be working together to accomplish that. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I don't think this resolution accomplishes anything positive. I don't see its purpose. The county council has no control over these matters. Secondly, this resolution seems to conflate illegal immigrants with people who are sponsored by the IISTL, who appear to be seeking efforts to join the workforce and become productive members of society. I don't think this accomplishes anything, and I'm voting against it.
Okay, next up, Mr. Brad.
Yes, I'd like to talk about a couple things. First of all, some of the gentlemen came up here and spoke. We appreciate your great contribution to the country and being a Vietnam veteran. Greatly appreciated. But also, this has nothing to do with being Latin American or being Spanish or anything like this. What, in my perspective, is this has everything to do with whether or not you're entering the country legal or illegal. And that's all the resolution says. In your perspective, if it says that they're coming into the country legal, then it doesn't pertain to your situation. But there's also a couple points I'd like to make. On this particular parole program, the Attorney General of Missouri filed a lawsuit on this particular program along with 19 other states. So there's 20 lawsuits going on right now with this particular program. So the argument is they didn't follow the federal laws. By announcing that it would permit up to 360 aliens annually from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. My other question is why them 4 countries? Why, if you're going to be a humanitarian, why wouldn't it include everybody? I mean, why is it just those 4? I mean, is that right? I mean, is that the right way to look at it? And the other thing is you have the parole program established by the department fails each of the law's 3 limiting factors. It is not case by case, it is not for urgent humanitarian reasons, and advances no significant public benefit. And hundreds of thousands of aliens to enter the United States who otherwise have no basis for doing so. This is the arguments in the lawsuits filed. So if there's 20 states that are filing a lawsuit on this particular program, we're not standing alone on this position. We didn't just come up with it last week. So there's a lot of issues with the program and with what's going on. It has nothing to do with being Latin or Spanish or whatever the case may be. It's about the law, about the immigration laws. There's also some issues you got to be concerned with. It pays for 3 months of cell phones and donations for their living expenses. What happens after the 3 months is who's going to cover that? How's that budgeted? How many illegal immigrants or immigrants is it going to be? I mean, did they even put a number on it? Is it 5,000, 10,000? And 2 of the countries are communist countries. Is that a concern? How well are they vetted? And so there's a lot of questions to be answered here. It's not about are they going to be contributing citizens. I'm sure they would be. But that's not the point. It doesn't even talk about it. It's talking about, are they legally entering the country? Well, and 20 states and 20 attorney generals saying no. And so that's what this is. That's what this resolution is talking about. It's not about whether or not they're going to contribute or not. It's about, are they legally entering the country? And that's what the resolution is saying. Now, we had 4 co-sponsors, and 2 of them, one of them sick and one of them had something to do. And so we can't table it so we can have our 4 co-sponsors because it would pass. So I'm going to request that we table it to the next meeting so we have our 4 co-sponsors so we can have complete dialogue on it and go from there.
I'll second that.
Okay, well, okay. Mr., we'll do that.
Yeah,
We'll let Mr. Elam speak first.
And I'd like to talk too when you.
Sure, okay. Good.
So you'll notice that 3 of us aren't sponsors of this because 3 of us weren't included in this discussion at all. So I found out about this resolution when the agenda got posted.
So did I.
So there was no discussion as a whole with the council about this. And I agree with the last half of this resolution that I don't want to see a lot of illegal immigration into the region or into the country. I want the border to be secured, and I fully support that. And I think we've seen the open border experiment go horribly wrong. I was just seeing reports this morning that Venezuelan immigrants in New York are requesting to go back to Venezuela because of the conditions that they're in New York. So it shows you how bad that experiment has gone. So I completely agree with that part. However, I think this resolution is poorly researched and poorly put together and poorly worded. At best, it's misleading. At worst, it's just an untruth. And the biggest portion about that is this resolution, the way it's currently worded, would make you think that unions are supporting illegal immigration because the first paragraph actually takes the IISTL and says is working with unions and philanthropic leaders to resettle thousands of Latin American migrants to St. Louis. Well, the implication by saying that the resolution opposes the importation of illegal immigrants to the region, we're conflating, are you legal, are you illegal? If you're legal, I don't have a problem with you moving about the United States of America and being a productive citizen. I am yet to know a union, especially in St. Charles County, that is going to employ illegal workers. If you're in this country illegally, you're not working for IBEW or plumbers and pipe fitters or carpenters or any of that. Like, you have to have proof that you are here legally to be able to join those unions. That's not what this resolution says. I understand there may be different meaning of what you were trying to get across when you put this together, but as we've talked about with other bills that got passed by the legislature earlier this year, I understand what you mean, but that's not what it says. So this does call out Latin American migrants. So it's, I think we have people who are illegally in the United States from all over the world. And I'm more worried about people who are coming here from Iran illegally that are coming into our country, especially at this time of what's going on in the world, than I am someone from Central America. But I'm concerned about anybody coming into the country illegally. I think I've made that point, right? So I just feel like if we are going to table this, it needs to be rewritten. With all due respect to the gentleman from the IISTL, I'm sorry, man, I didn't know anything about your organization until this came about. So hopefully, if nothing else, because you've got the television stations that are here, hopefully you'll get some publicity for your organization, because I want to know more about what are you doing, right? I'm going to assume, based on what you said tonight, that the purpose of your program is to bring legal folks to the region. I understand that part, but I'd like to have a little more information about the organization, and personally, I'd just like to have some more research on it, other than what I've been able to come up with since Friday. So if we want to table this, I'm good with tabling it, but I'm going to highly suggest that we, at the very least, clarify, because this says apprenticeship programs and job placement through unions, not for illegals. And that's what we're conflating in this. So my suggestion would be, I would vote to table it if we want to table, but please, if we're going to do this at all, and believe it or not, I actually agree with Mr. Dienoff. I don't think this is a St. Charles County issue that we need to be doing. But if we are going to wade into these waters, let's clarify the wording that's in here, because we've conflated legal and illegal, and it is just unclear.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah, thank you. I don't disagree. I don't think we're trying to single out any particular group. I think the key word that I'm focused on is the word illegal, and whether that got misinterpreted in the resolution, then I would agree with that. My mother and my sister-in-law are both legal immigrants, and we just need to know if immigrants are coming here that they're legal, because if they're not, we just don't know who they are and what kind of bad actors they could be. I mean, we've heard that there could be some people on our terrorist watch list coming over. We don't know. I mean, so I think that's the point on what I'm thinking that was the intent of the resolution, was to address the illegal portion, not specific Latinos or any specific group. I mean, my personal opinion, they're one of the hardest working people that I see around our county specifically. So, yeah, I wouldn't support a resolution that singles out a specific group, but I do think that we need to know if people are coming here that they've been vetted and we know who they are, so.
Yeah, I will support the idea of tabling this. I really think the resolution is kind of a mixture. It starts out with the obvious heading, opposing illegal immigrants, but then throughout the text of this, I think that there's just the assumption that every time the word migrant is mentioned, it is illegal, and that's not necessarily true, as Councilman Elam pointed out. And then the point about the city of Chicago, as being a sanctuary city, yes, they are. 18,000 immigrants have arrived. Chicago's a very, very big city. They might have 12,000 immigrants arrive every year, illegal or legal. You don't really know. So I would propose that we do table this for two reasons. One, to clarify, and also because we do have two councilmen that are not present tonight. So I think you've already made
And
that
I second
motion,
it, yeah.
and it's already been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this has been tabled and will be taken up at the next council meeting.